Lawson Lovering against Morgan. Squares up now. Backs his way in the paint. Spins over the right shoulder. Hook shot with the left hand is up and good. And the iron is kind. Lovering has got 6 and a timeout called by him. On the left side, Hannah. Down the lane, throws it high. Caught it, slammed. Holy cow! Who was that man out of Wyoming? High above the rim and throw it down by Lawson Lovering.
Well, the Buffaloes are on the road in Los Angeles to take on USC and UCLA. Big fellow, Lawson Lovering, putting up some nice numbers, really played well, especially against USC at 13 points, 14 rebounds, 7 offensive. Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson, associate head coach. Mike Rohn joining us here for a couple of minutes. Before we get talking about the ball games, you work with Lawson a lot. I thought we saw the young man grow up a little bit these last couple of games. Yeah,
he just keeps coming. And in the last probably 3 weeks, he's got some confidence about him that we haven't seen, and you know we need that.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see in that USC game. You know, he got some dunks, and the guys made some easy passes to him and got him going. And sometimes you just get an easy one to go, and good things can happen from there. But he played tough, played hard.
You know, Mike, we hear this all the time. You know, Scott Wilkie on our broadcast meeting, a big guy, talks about it takes longer for the big guys to develop. Why is that?
Some of them, it just does.
Yeah.
You know, probably just because it's a more physical game in college, and they don't get to play like that as much in high school. So, you know, a guy like Lawson, his body's still coming. You know, he's still long and thin, but he's getting stronger. When strength comes and you realize how hard you have to play and the physicality, that's what just takes a little longer for some guys.
Yeah.
And it's happening with him.
There is that mental aspect of it where you got to stop thinking and just start playing, right? And then sometimes when you're a young player, you're thinking all the time, what do I need to, but you can tell there's moments where he'll get it, and instead of the wheels turning, he just goes to the rim, boom, dunks it, or makes a nice move. And so there is part of that aspect of it, isn't there?
Definitely. And we've been talking to him a lot about just dunking the ball lately.
Yeah.
You know, he's long, he's athletic, and sometimes when he overthinks and he's got all this good footwork, then he's trying to always go to his next move, and I'm like, dude, just tear the rim down, man. If I were you, you know, I'd try to dunk it every time.
Throw it down, big man. Throw it down.
So he's getting some of those, and that just gives you life.
He's got that Lone Ranger mask again on tonight. Drives against Etienne, gets by him to the rim. Oh, the Lone Ranger with the right hand off the window, and it's up and good. He saw the mismatch with the 6'10" Etienne. Driving baseline right off to our left, looks in the paint, bounces off. Lovering the catch, goes to the dunk, slams with 2 hands over the top of Jaquez, and the and one coming. Oh, what a flush that time. Throw it down, big man. Throw it down. KJ gets it back from Ethan Wright. Has it between the circles. Pick is set to his right. There's the roll. Drives down the paint his way to the hoop. Took a bump that time. Kicks it off the window as he got pushed away. He hooked it off the glass, and it's a potential 3-point play in the
There's some highlights for the Buffaloes as they ran across town to take on the Bruins, a top 10 team at UCLA. As we continue with associate head coach Mike Rohn. You know, both these games, they kind of fit together here. There's one common theme between the two of them. Colorado played well in some respects. Defense was pretty good. Rebounded relatively well. But, Mike, the turnovers, you and I were just talking before we went on camera. 65 turnovers in 2 games in, 22 and 23 against those 2 LA schools.
Yeah, when you do that, it makes it really hard on your team, and especially on your defense. And our defense was really good in both games. You know, we held them, you know, under 40% field goal percentage, and both those teams are really good offensively. So, you know, we did some really good things from the defensive standpoint. We're getting better there. But, man, when you turn that ball over, it's like you're just playing from 20-some possessions less than your opponent, and that's really hard, especially against really good teams.
Yeah, you look at those two teams, 65 turnovers combined, 9 and 11 block shots. So right there, 65 empty possessions in those 2 games against high-caliber teams. Does that come down? Is it a physical thing? Is it just a mental thing? Well, how do you guys approach this?
Yeah, I think a little bit of it is mental. You know, kind of it's like free throw shooting sometimes. When it starts going bad, it kind of can snowball a little bit as a team. And, you know, we've got to get better in that area. And we've been trying to do a lot of things to improve in that area. We've been, you know, doing some conditioning in practice when we turn it over too many times as a team or an individual. And it's something that we just continue to have to keep working on. And, you know, once we figure that part out of it now, the guys have really improved defensively, you know, especially from the Cal game. Coach challenged them. and they've gotten better defensively, and now it's just the next step of making the game easier on ourselves and not giving them the ball.
You know, so here we're working our way towards the end of January already, right? And you guys well notice, I mean, every game becomes big this time of year. Now, the good news is we're coming back home here, right? We got the Washington schools coming up. Going to be challenging games, no doubt about it. But, boy, the importance of defending this court we're standing on, huge.
It is, you know, this is typically, you know, we play well at home, you know, and we're going to have to do that again. Obviously, we'll only play Washington State once, but UW beat us at their place, and so, you know, you got to protect home court in this league, and you got to sneak them on the road, and that's what we're going to do this week. We had a good practice today.
Good to hear. And the Buffaloes, their turnover numbers, by the way down at home as well. He's associate head coach Mike Rohn. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. We'll continue on the Buffalo Stampede after a quick timeout.